Hello again. I'm back. As you can probably hear, my air conditioner is on. I've got that air conditioner on. I decided to turn it on before I came on here because it is scorching hot. Welcome to my sweat lodge. It's hotter than heck in here. So I hope I get that. The estimated delivery date that I'm supposed to get the portable air conditioner is probably the 10th of June. I was hoping it would be tomorrow, but I don't think so. Okay. I'm pausing my TV because you guys don't need to hear that. So I'm not sure now that I'm back on what kind of content that I'm going to provide. Maybe, I told you guys, briefly what was going on with everything. And I just think I need to come on here more and talk about my feelings and my emotions and vlog and try to bring, I can even we can even do a story time. Or I can present. It's too hard sometimes. I can do it, but okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to go on here since I already downloaded the book. It's the one by Stephen King, Fairy Tale. I'm going to have to start it all over again.
A cucumber. And 9. 2.
Oops.
Chapter 1. Thinking. 4. Chapter 1.
I'm getting there, guys. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So this is by Stephen King, and it's called Fairy Tale.
We lived halfway up the long.
Whoa. No. Whoa.
2.
And
Chapter 1. Thinking of REA.
I don't know what happened there. I must have touched the phone or something. Okay, so this is the book by Stephen King called Fairy Tale. Here we go.
Simon & Schuster Audio presents Fairy Tale, a novel by Stephen King. Read by Seth Newrick with Stephen King.
Thinking of REH, ERB, and of course, HPL. And always let your conscience be your guide. Blue Fairy. Chapter 1. The Goddamn Bridge. The Miracle. The Howling. 1. I'm sure I can tell this story. I'm also sure no one will believe it. That's fine with me. Telling it will be enough. My problem, and I'm sure many writers have it, not just newbies like me, is deciding where to start. My first thought was with the shed, because that's where my adventures really began. But then I realized I would have to tell about Mr. Bowditch first, and how we became close. Only that never would have happened except for the miracle that happened to my father. A very ordinary miracle, you could say, one that's happened to many thousands of men and women since 1935, but it seemed like a miracle to a kid. Only that isn't the right place either, because I don't think my father would have needed a miracle if it hadn't been for that goddamned bridge. So that's where I need to start, with the goddamned Sycamore Street Bridge. And now, thinking of those things, I see a clear thread leading up through the years to Mr. Bowditch and the padlocked shed behind his ramshackle old Victorian. But a thread is easy to break, so not a thread, but a chain. A strong one. And I was the kid with the shackle clamped around his wrist. 2. The Little Rumpel River runs through the north end of Sentry's Rest, known to the locals as Sentry. And until the year 1996, the year I was born, it was spanned by a wooden bridge. That was the year the state inspectors from the Department of Highway Transportation looked it over and deemed it unsafe. People in our part of Sentry had known that since '82, my father said. The bridge was posted for 10,000 pounds, but townies with a fully loaded pickup truck mostly steered clear of it, opting for the turnpike extension, which was an annoying and time-consuming detour. My dad said you could feel the planks shiver and shake and rumble under you, even in a car. It was dangerous. The state inspectors were right about that, but here's the irony. If the old wooden bridge had never been replaced by one made of steel, my mother might still be alive. The Little Rumpel really is little, and putting up the new bridge didn't take long. The wooden span was demolished, and the new one was opened to traffic in April of 1997. Mayor cut a ribbon, Father Coughlin blessed the goddamn thing, and that was that, my father said one night. He was pretty drunk at the time. Wasn't much of a blessing for us, Charlie, was it? It was named the Frank Ellsworth Bridge, after a hometown hero who died in Vietnam, but the locals just called it the Sycamore Street Bridge. Sycamore Street was paved nice and smooth on both sides, but the bridge deck, 142 feet long, was steel grating that made a humming sound when cars went over it, and a rumble when trucks used it, which they could do because the bridge was now rated at 60,000 pounds. Not big enough for a loaded semi, but long haulers never used Sycamore Street anyway. There was talk every year in the town council about paving the deck and adding at least one sidewalk, but every year it seemed like there were other places where the money was needed more urgently. I don't think a sidewalk would have saved my mother. The paving might have. There's no way to know, is there? That goddamn bridge.
I don't know who you are that's on my live right now, but I'm trying to do story time right now and trying to share with people that actually want to enjoy Stephen King fairy tale. This isn't me coming on for purely to entertain whoever it is that you are, whoever it is that's on my live that needs to get off my life. I'm not going to put up with perverts, and I'm not going to put up with people who are haters. That's not why I come on YouTube. So if you can't be appropriate, whoever this don't care person is, don't come on my live. Because if you continue to be inappropriate and I hear complaints from other people, I'm going to block you.
We lived halfway up the long length of Sycamore Street Hill, about a quarter mile from the bridge. There was a little gas and convenience store on the other side called Zip Mart. It sold all the usual stuff, from motor oil to Wonder Bread to Little Debbie cakes, but it also sold fried chicken made by the proprietor, Mr. Eliadis. known to the neighborhood as Mr. Zippy. That chicken was exactly what the sign in the window said, the best in the land. I can still remember how tasty it was, but I never ate a single piece after my mom died. I would have gagged it up if I tried. One Saturday in November of 2003, the town council still discussing paving the bridge and still deciding it could wait another year, my mother told us she was going to walk down to the Zippy and get us fried chicken for dinner. My father and I were watching a college football game. "You should take the car," Dad said. "It's going to rain." "I need the exercise," Mom said, "but I'll wear my Little Red Riding Hood raincoat." And that's what she was wearing the last time I saw her. The hood wasn't up because it wasn't raining yet, so her hair was spilling over her shoulders. I was 7 years old and thought my mother had the world's most beautiful red hair.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Story Time. We are listening to a book by Stephen King called Fairy Tale. Please be respectful and kind and courteous in the chat if you are going to come on my live. And don't care, guy, if he is going to be rude and inappropriate or whatever, he's going to get blocked. To be continued.
She saw me looking at her through the window and waved. I waved back, then turned my attention to the TV, where LSU was driving. I wish I had looked longer, but I don't blame myself. You never know where the trap doors are in your life. It wasn't my fault, and it wasn't Dad.
Oh, just to add, like, share, and subscribe. I'm also off of Twitter. I'm also off of Instagram. And I'm also off of Facebook. Facebook, I usually just use to talk to my friends and my family off of there. But you can find me also off of Twitter and Instagram.
Dad's fault, although I know he blamed himself. Thought if only I'd gotten up off my dead ass and given her a ride to the damn store. It probably wasn't the fault of the man in the plumbing truck, either. The cop said he was sober, and he swore he was keeping to...
Yo, don't care, guy. Knock it off. This is Story Time by Stephen King called Fairy Tale. Quit being perverted. Get off my live, or I'm going to block you. Sorry, guys. I have somebody that's calling himself Don't Care on here. And he has a tendency to come on here. No, I haven't been on here posting anything for a while. And I'd like my audience to get along with one another. And I try to post appropriate content for my audience and my viewers. And he's being... I'm not going to put up with that. So he has been saying things. So if you come on my live and there's a guy called or person that calls him, or he says, "Don't care person." If he's being inappropriate or whatever and you come on my live, you need to let me know so I can block him. To be continued.
Speed limit, which was 25 in our residential zone. Dad said that even if that were true, the man must have taken his eyes off the road, if only for a few seconds. Dad was probably right about that. He was an insurance claims adjuster, and he told me once that the only pure accident he ever heard of was a man in Arizona who was killed when a meteor hit him in the head. "There's always someone at fault," Dad said, which is not the same as blame. "Do you blame the man who hit Mom?" I asked. He thought about it, raised his glass to his lips, drank. This was 6 or 8 months after Mom died, and he'd pretty much given up on beer. By then, he was strictly a Gilbey's man. I try not to. And mostly I can't do that unless I wake up at 2 in the morning with nobody in the bed but me. Then I blame him.
Okay, we're getting to a good point. This is by Stephen King called Fairy Tale. You guys probably hear that I have my air conditioner on because it is hot. I don't know where you guys are from, but I'm from the suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome to all who is here, except for the haters and the perverts. You can go away. There's a guy on my live right now calling himself Don't Care Dude, and he's been saying, I could have swore I thought I blocked that person. So if you are in my live, or if you join my live, and there's a Don't Care guy and he's being inappropriate, you need to let me know so I can. If he says anything else, I'm going to go ahead. Anything like commenting on saying certain things he shouldn't say, being inappropriate. This is not why I'm on YouTube. I want my audience viewers to be respectful, males, females, whoever decides to come on here, and be respectful to the other people that also decide to be in the chat as well, to be respectful towards them. If not, I will not hesitate to block a person, I will not hesitate to do it. It goes for this don't care person. All right, to be continued.
4. Mom walked down the hill. There was a sign where the sidewalk ended. She walked past the sign and crossed the bridge. By then it was getting dark and starting to drizzle. She went into the store, and Irina Heliades, of course known as Mrs. Zippy, told her more chicken was coming out in 3 minutes, 5 at the most. Somewhere on Pine Street, not far from our house, the plumber had just finished his last job of that Saturday and was putting his toolbox in the back of his panel van. The chicken came out hot and crispy, golden. Mrs. Zippy boxed up an 8-piece and gave Mom an extra wing to eat on her walk home. Mom thanked her, paid, and stopped to look at the magazine rack. If she hadn't done that, she might have made it all the way across the bridge. Who knows? The plumber's van must have been turning onto Sycamore Street and starting down the mile-long hill while Mom was checking out the latest issue of People. She put it back, opened the door, and spoke to Mrs. Zippy over her shoulder. "Have a nice night." She might have cried out when she saw the van was going to hit her. God knows what she might have been thinking, but those were the last words she ever spoke. She went out. The rain was coming down, cold and steady by then. Silvery lines in the glow of the one street light on the Zip Mart side of the bridge. Munching on her chicken wing, my mother walked onto the steel deck. Headlights picked her out and threw her shadow long behind her. The plumber passed the sign on the other side, the one that reads, "Bridge surface freezes before road. Please use caution." Was he looking in his rearview mirror? Maybe checking for messages on his phone? He said no to both, but when I think of what happened to her that night, I always think of my dad saying the only pure accident he ever heard of was the man who took a meteor to the head. There was plenty of room. The steel bridge was quite a bit wider than the wooden version had been. The problem was that steel grating. He saw my mother halfway across the bridge and hit the brake, not because he was speeding, or so he said, but out of pure instinct. The steel surface had started to freeze. The panel truck skidded and slewed, starting to come sideways. My mother shrank against the bridge rail, dropping her little piece of chicken. The panel truck slewed further, struck her, and sent her spinning along the rail like a top. I don't want to think about the parts of her that were torn off in that death spin, but I'm helpless not to sometimes. All I know is that the nose of the panel truck finally drove her into a bridge stanchion near the Zip Mart side of the bridge. Part of her went into the little rumble. Most of her stayed on the bridge. I carry a picture of us in my wallet. I was maybe 3 when it was taken. She's got me on her hip. One of my hands is in her hair. She had beautiful hair. Fun.
Sorry. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm also off of Instagram and Twitter. Tried to do live content off of Instagram today, but my phone was overheating and I couldn't do it. So, if you did not get a chance to come on my live, I do apologize if you had to run into this don't care dude. Let me know if he was inappropriate with you or perverted in any way or whatever, because I'm not going to excuse that on my channel. It's unacceptable. I will not allow that. So if that is happening, you need to let me know. Any other people that decide to come on my live, let me know if this don't care dude is at all making you feel uncomfortable or whatever. Let me know, because I could have swore I tried to block him. So believe you me, I will be blocking don't care dude, don't care person, if this person continues to do whatever this person is doing. But anyway, please, if you did not get to join my live and you want to comment, go ahead and comment below. Like, share, subscribe. I am also off of Instagram and Twitter. I do post videos off of Twitter. I also have a hard time. I'm going to try again off of Instagram, but once my phone overheats. Yeah. All right. To be continued.
Shitty Christmas that year. Better believe it. I remember the reception after the funeral. It was at our house. My father was there greeting people and accepting condolences, and then he was gone. I asked his brother, my Uncle Bob, where he was. He had to lie down, Uncle Bob said. He was really worn out. Charlie, why don't you go outside and play? I had never felt less like playing in my life, but I went outside. I passed a bunch of grown-ups who had come outside to smoke, and I heard one of them say, "Poor guy, drunk as a skunk." Even then, deep in grief for my mother, I knew who they were talking about. Before Mom died, my father was what I'd call a regular drinker. I was just a little kid in the 2nd grade, so I suppose you'd have to take that with a grain of salt, but I stand by it. I never heard him slurring. He didn't stumble around the place. He didn't go out to bars, and he never laid a hand on me or my mother. He would come home with his briefcase, and Mom would give him a drink, usually a martini. She'd have one too. In the evening, while we were watching TV, he might have a couple of beers. That was it. All that changed after the goddamn bridge. He was drunk after the funeral, as a skunk. Drunk on Christmas and drunk on New Year's Eve, which I found out later people like him call amateur night. In the weeks and months after we lost her, he was drunk most of the time. Mostly at home. He still didn't go out to bars at night. "Too many assholes like me," he said once. And he still never laid a hand on me, but the booze was out of control. I know that now. Then I just accepted it. Kids do that. Dogs too. I found myself getting my own breakfast 2 mornings a week, then 4, then almost all the time. I'd eat Alphabets or Apple Jacks in the kitchen and hear him snoring in the bedroom. Great big motorboat snores. Sometimes he forgot to shave before leaving for work. After dinner, more and more that was takeout, I'd hide his car keys. If he needed a fresh bottle, he could walk down to the Zippy and get one. Sometimes I worried about him meeting a car on the goddamn bridge, but not too much. I was pretty sure at least, that both of my parents couldn't possibly get wiped out in the same place. My dad worked in insurance, and I knew what actuarial tables were, figuring the odds. He was good at his job, my dad, and he skated along for over 3 years in spite of his boozing. Did he get warnings at work? I don't know, but probably. Was he pulled over for driving erratically once the drinking started in the afternoon? If he was, maybe he was let off with a warning. Make that probably, because he knew all the cops in town. Dealing with cops was part of his job. There was a rhythm to our lives during those 3 years. Maybe not a good rhythm, not the sort you'd want to dance to, but one I could count on. I'd get home from school around 3, and my father would roll in around 5 with a few drinks already under his belt and on his breath. He didn't go out to the bars at night, but I found out later he was a regular at Duffy's Tavern on his way home from the office. He'd bring pizza or tacos or Chinese from Joy Fun. Some nights he'd forget and we'd order out, or rather I would. And after dinner, the real drinking would start. Mostly gin. Other stuff if the gin was gone. Some nights he fell asleep in front of the TV. Some nights he'd stumble into the bedroom, leaving his shoes and rumpled suit coat for me to put away. Once in a while, I'd wake up and hear him crying. It's pretty awful to hear that in the middle of the night. The crash came in 2006. It was summer vacation. I had a shrimp league game at 10 in the morning, hit 2 home runs, and made an awesome catch. I came home just after noon and found my father already there, sitting in his chair and staring at the TV where old-time movie stars were having a duel on some castle stairs. He was in his undershorts and sipping a white drink that smelled to me like straight Gilbey's. I asked him what he was doing home. Still looking at the sword fight and hardly slurring at all, he said, "I seem to have lost my job, Charlie. Or if I can quote Bobcat Goldthwait, I know where it is, but someone else is doing it. Or soon will be." I thought I didn't know what to say, but words came out of my mouth anyway. "Because of your drinking." "I'm going to stop," he said. I just pointed at the glass. Then I went into my bedroom and shut the door and started to cry. He knocked on my door. "Can I come in?" I didn't answer. I didn't want him to hear me blubbing. "Come on, Charlie." I poured it down the sink. Like I didn't know the rest of the bottle would be on the kitchen counter, and another one in the liquor cabinet, or 2 or 3. "Come on, Charlie, what do you say?" Shay. I hated the slur in his voice. "Fuck you, Dad." I'd never said such a thing to him in my life, and I sort of wanted him to come in and give me a slap. Or a hug, something, anyway. Instead, I heard him shuffle into the kitchen, where the bottle of Gilbey's would be waiting. He was asleep on the couch when I finally came out. The TV was still on, but muted. It was some other black and white movie, this one featuring old cars racing around what was obviously a movie set. Dad always watched TCM when he was drinking, unless I was home and insisted on something else. The bottle was on the coffee table, mostly empty. I poured what was left down the sink. I opened the liquor cabinet and thought about pouring away everything else, but looking at the gin, the whiskey, the vodka nips, the coffee brandy, it just made me tired. I wouldn't think a 10-year-old could be tired like that, but I was. I put a Stouffer's frozen dinner in the microwave for supper, Grandma's chicken bake, our favorite, and shook him awake while I was cooking. He sat up, looked around like he didn't know where he was, and started to make these horrible chugging sounds I'd never heard before. He wove his way to the bathroom with his hands over his mouth, and I heard him puking. It seemed to me like it would never stop, but eventually it did. The microwave binged. I got the chicken bake out using the oven mitts that said "good cookin" on the left and "good eatin" on the right. You forget to use those mitts once while you're taking something hot out of the zapper, and you never forget again. I plopped some on our plates and then went into the living room where Dad was sitting on the couch with his head down and his hands laced together on the back of his neck. "Can you eat?" He looked up. Maybe if you bring me a cup of aspirin. The bathroom stank of gin and something else, maybe bean dip. But at least he'd gotten all of it in the bowl and flushed it away. I sprayed some Glade around, then brought him the aspirin bottle and a glass of water. He took 3 and put the glass where the bottle of Gilby's had been. He looked up at me with an expression I'd never seen before, even after Mom died. I hate to say this, but I'm going to because it's what I thought then. It was the expression of a dog that has taken a shit on the floor. I could eat if you gave me a hug. I hugged him and said I was sorry for what I said. It's okay. Probably I deserved it. We went into the kitchen and ate as much of Grandma's chicken bake as we could manage, which wasn't very much. As he scraped our plates into the sink, he told me he was going to stop drinking, and that weekend, he did. He told me that on Monday he was going to start looking for a job, but he didn't. He stayed home, watched old movies on TCM, and when I came home from baseball practice and noon swim at the Y, he was pretty much blotto. He saw me looking at him and just shook his head. Tomorrow, I absolutely promise. I call bullshit, I said, and went into my room.
Okay, so far you got to listen to my, excuse me, one of my favorite authors of all time, Stephen King. I don't know if anybody on here has heard of Robert Zink, but I have built a personal relationship with God, and I've also gotten back into my meditations again. So there's something else I wanted to share on here. If I could find one of his videos. If I can. So Robert Zink. So Robert Zink's excuse me, podcast. There we go. Oop. Oh, I screwed that up. Oh, did I screw that up? Here we go. Let's try that again. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, Rob. Okay, so he's got different podcasts on here that I would like you to listen to. I don't know what you guys like, but he has different. I don't want to do. Okay, here's a cool one. Here's one I think you should listen to. It's called Release Outcome and Let It Flow. Okay, I'm huge into meditation. There's all different types of things that you can do with meditation. All right, here we go. Listen to this.
What would your life be like if you were a rapid transformational therapist? So I can give you a glimpse into that life now.
My phone is slow. Man, sorry.
You work your own hours. If you have children in school, you work when they're in school.
flow, then energy has no place to grow. How to let go of outcome as it affects the law of attraction. Could affect your relationship, could affect your business, could affect the money that you have flowing into your life. If you're not allowing energy to flow, then energy has no place to grow. Hi everyone, Robert Zink, Miracle Mentor and Alchemy Life Coach. And today we are soaring high like a big beautiful eagle, and we're always flying in the direction of your dreams and your goals. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Be sure and click the bell icon because we're here all the time with new videos to empower your life. Now, I want to talk about this whole notion of letting it go and letting the energy flow. And some people believe that it's about not caring or not having any kind of desire for anything. It's almost kind of a monk-like attitude. But we are manifestors. We are creators of our reality. And so we need to do both. We need to create through intention what we desire. And at the same time, we need to let go and allow the universe to do its work. So high flyers, one of the things that I have found very important is to let go in advance. In other words, if you're opening up a business, let go of all the worries and the fears and the doubts and the stress in advance of opening up the business. If you're involved in a relationship, let go of all those fears and doubts and anxieties that are holding you back from having the best possible relationship you could have. And the same is true with health. So let me share with you a story that illustrates how to let go in advance. In the gospel, there's this beautiful story of this Roman centurion captain, and he's got a house servant. Now, may have been his lover, may have been his friend, may have just been a servant. We don't really know. But it's obvious that this Roman captain really cared for this servant. And he goes to Jesus. I mean, he's probably tried all the Roman medicines available at the time, and he's desperate. He goes to Jesus and he says, "My servant is sick. If you'll just say the word, I know my servant will be healed." Jesus says, "Well, take me to him." And he says, "No, look, I'm a man of authority. I understand authority. If I tell my soldiers to go here, go there, they do it. And I know the same is true with you. You are a man of authority. If you speak the word, I know it will happen." And Jesus marveled at this man's faith. You see, he let go of attachment in advance, high flyers. And so then shortly thereafter, somebody came running up to him and said, "Your servant is healed and is up and healthy." So I just love that story because it's about letting go of your fears, your doubts, your worries, your apprehensions, your anxiety in advance of what it is that you desire to manifest. You see, what this Roman soldier had is what is called in Greek gnosis. He had this knowingness. I know that I know that I know. I'm absolutely certain. I understand it. He is a man of authority. If he says it, it will happen. I understand that. Now, pause with me for a moment. Pause. Take a deep breath. Are you ready? You are co-creator of your reality. You are a man or a woman of great authority.
What is grace? It's not a commodity to buy, heavenly points to earn, or a one-time commitment.
You have universal, incredible powers flowing through you. If you say but the word, speak your intention without any doubt, without any fear, without any anxiety, without any need to hold on to outcome, it will manifest. See, high flyers, a lot of people are saying, well, it's just not in the cards, Robert. It's not in the cards. It's just not meant for me. It's just not meant for me. What is meant for you? What the hell is meant for you? Whatever you say, whatever you speak, with total abandonment to outcome, with total gnosis, knowledge that what you speak is manifesting in your life. The relationship you desire, the money you desire, whatever. And I'm not talking about desire in the sense of want. I'm talking about desire in the sense of knowing that you are claiming it to be meant for you. You have that power. You have that authority. Claim it now. High flyers, I believe you need to write this down. You need to memorize this. The beliefs you have or choose to have is the reality that you manifest. So number one, let go of outdated, limiting beliefs. Let go of the beliefs you have or choose to have is the reality that you manifest. So number one, let go of outdated, limiting beliefs. Let go of beliefs that say, I can't do this. It's not meant for me. I'm not right for it. I'm too old for it. I'm too young for it. When I was on the streets, a step above the streets, not even my family called me. And people around me, strangers, when I would talk to them about my plight, you know what they would say? It's not meant for you. Your life is over. I don't think so, high flyers. I think what's meant for me is what I invoke into my life through the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and through my determination and inspired action. Secondly, high flyers, claim to be a master of your own thoughts and emotions. Go out of your way to monitor your thoughts, because your thoughts will affect your emotions, and your emotions will affect what you manifest in your life. Be a master of thoughts and emotions. So high flyers, number 3 is really important. Listen to me. Ask yourself this question. What do I get? What's the payoff? What happens if I continue to think the way I think and feel the way I feel? Well, one of the payoffs may be control. You have this illusion that you have control in your life. I have one client that called me. He said, I want an appointment every day with you. Well, that's about control. At some point, you do the work, and then you allow that energy to flow for a while, and then you have another appointment, and you readjust. Control takes away flow. Control takes away flow. Fear cripples your flow. Oh, I'm worried my business won't make any money. I'm worried I'm going to be broke. I don't know if she'll ever come back to me. I don't know if this marriage is ever going to work. Fear and doubt. They literally take a sharp sword and stab it into flow. It's literally a death blow to the flow of energy. You've got to let it go. Let it go and let the energy flow. And then reframe. And one of the ways to reframe, the easiest way, to reframe a belief, an old belief into a new belief. The old belief says, what if my business fails? What if I lose all the money I've saved? What if my boyfriend doesn't ever call me back? And the new belief says, what if I make $1 million in my business? What if I make more money than I've ever made before? What if my old boyfriend turns into a new boyfriend in a new relationship? What if I have a miracle happen in my life? See, so many people have given up by constantly talking to themselves in a negative what if frame. Reframe it. Every negative what if that you can write down on a piece of paper, rewrite it. Okay? Do it. Do it. Trust me. And then finally, breathe. Just breathe. Take some deep breaths throughout the day. Pause for a breath. Breathe. Let it go. And let it flow. Here's some other videos to help you on your journey.
Okay, you guys, so you got a treat tonight. You got to hear Robert Zink is what you just heard. That's what you just heard. So, that is very, very true in what he said. And for example, this is the example that I like to use. Let's say you're manifesting a new love in your life. You're meditating for somebody new to come in. And let's say physically you want that person to look like, you have a physical preference in what you physically want them to look like, which is, let's say it's River Phoenix. Or let's say you want this person to look like Julia Roberts. Whatever. You can have that. You can have that. That's specifically, your soul knows what you desire. It's not about the want. It's just going to keep giving you want. You don't want that. So when you're manifesting and when you're meditating, you deserve better than all the crappy other relationships that you've had. So manifest for better. You are deserving physically of what that person you want to look like. Yes, that's your specific person. That's your soulmate. That's the person that you desire to be with. To manifest it then. You are the soul creator. You're the one that's in control. It starts with you. It starts with you having a personal relationship with God. You can go the other way too. I hope you don't. Like I said, people make choices, but I'm just saying, if you're going to meditate and you're going to be a soul creator of your own existence, raise your vibration, become the best version of who you are, and know you are deserving of it. You deserve that awesome relationship. When I meditate on the new person that I want to come in my life, there's all that. there's the commitment, there's the sexual attraction, then there's the marriage. So they all have to fall into play, or what is the point? So that's Robert Zink's podcast that you just got to hear just now. You got to hear that. I wanted you to kind of give you a combination of both things that were pretty entertaining. You did not get a chance to join my live. You can leave a comment, and if Don't Care Guy continues to come on here, I need to know from my other people who come on my live if you need to block him if he's also trying to affect you in a negative way. I don't go for that on my channel. I do not do negativity. Don't bring it on my channel. Okay? All right. I think that's enough said. I hope you guys enjoyed me coming on here again and giving you a taste of Stephen King, the fairy tale book. I hope that you enjoyed it. And also Robert Zink's podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. In the words of Omar Gaj TV, give me a kiss.